If you're a radiation therapy student and you've ever struggled with calculating the gantry rotation, gantry stop location, or the gantry movement in general, this video is for you. I'm going to break it down a little bit slower and a little bit more basics. If you're new here, my name is Laura. I'm a radiation therapist and I create educational materials to help it feel a little bit more easy to understand and a little more enjoyable. So stick around. Okay, first let's start with the foundation. So when we're talking about gantry angles, we're talking about how the gantry is located around the isocenter. So the gantry has the ability to rotate to 360 different angles. The gantry can be static or not moving during treatments, or it can be moving in an arc for certain types of treatments. For this example, it's important to understand where the gantry starts, how it's moving, whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise, and how many degrees it's moving to find the stop location. So these are some common questions we might see during our radiation therapy schooling and maybe even the registry. So the gantry can move clockwise. So if we're looking at the machine from the foot of the table, it's going to move to our right, down in the clockwise position, and it can go all the way underneath the patient to about 179 or 180 degrees. It can't move past this part because there is some limitations within the machine. So it would have to come back counterclockwise and then rotate around the patient on the other side. So I want you to think of this like a clock in that sense. Now, when the gantry looks as it is in this photo, up top is 0 degrees. The gantry is at 0, but it can also be considered 360 degrees for the sake of these questions. This is an important part to understand. So as the gantry goes clockwise around the patient, like we said, it will start to count up from 0. When it's a true lateral, it'll be 90 and then go down to 180. And like I said, it can go back counterclockwise. So now instead of 0, it's going to be easier to reference this location as 360. And now the numbers will start to go down from 360 to like 350, 340, so on and so forth. And a true lateral would be 270 and then back down to 180. And this, at least for variant true beams I can speak to, would be known as 180E, so extended. And again, it can't go further past. It gets stopped here and it has to go back around the other way. So this is the basics, and this is all rotating around that point in space that we call the isocenter. And that is where the gantry, the collimator, and the couch are all calibrated to rotate around. Okay, now let's put this into a potential question. So the gantry starts at 225 degrees and it's rotating 270 degrees clockwise. Now, how can we find what the ending gantry angle is? So we said that it's starting at 225. So now if 270 is over here, 180 is down there, 225 is most likely somewhere around here, give or take. But now as the gantry is rotating 270 degrees, we can't just add 225 plus 270 and get our answer because of this 0 point and where the numbers start to count back up. So first we need to see how many degrees is it rotating from the starting point of 225 up until 360. So what I'm going to do in my calculator is do 360 minus 225. Can I get 135? So it took 135 degrees for the gantry to get from its starting point of 225 up to 0. But we said it's going to travel a total of 270 degrees. So we need to find how many degrees are now left for the gantry to rotate to its ending position. So if it traveled 270 degrees total, but so far we've already used up 135 of those degrees, now we need to see how many degrees are left by subtracting 270 minus 135. And that answer is 135. So the gantry will move another 135 degrees until it gets to its ending location. Okay, so now let's take this another step further and add in that component of actually calculating what the gantry movement is going to be. How many degrees will it move if we're given information such as the MU and the gantry speed? Now, gantry speed can be a little bit tricky because I've seen in multiple sources it is referred to in degrees per MU or MU per degree. I would just go with whatever the question is asking, and it can be interchanged a bit. So in this case, the gantry starts at 265. So it's around just past 270 there. And the total MU is 400 MU for this treatment. And the gantry speed is 0.5 degrees per MU. So for every MU that is delivered, the gantry will move half a degree. So in order to find the total degrees traveled, we'll do 400 times 0.5 and get 200 degrees. So the total degrees this gantry will be rotating is 200 degrees. So now we'll just do the same steps. Now we need to find out how many degrees it will rotate to get to that home position. So from where it started at 265 to 0 or 360, it'll be the same exact thing we did last time. So 360 minus our starting, which is 265, and that gets us 95. So now we said it's going to be a total of 200 degrees. 200 minus the 95 degrees it already traveled to get from its starting to that home position. And that is going to be 200 minus 95, 105. So that means the gantry will travel another 105 degrees after it reaches this home position. And it'll end around here. And just one quick note, this can be done in the reverse situation. So all of these situations work clockwise. So that is not always the case. They can travel counterclockwise. So just keep that in mind. It would just kind of be the opposite. So hopefully that doesn't make it seem so complicated. I know when you see the questions, they seem a bit tricky. If you visualize what you see in the treatment room, it might help you understand these questions a little bit easier. Remember, these are typically seen in ARRT treatments. These can be questions that we see either during school or potentially on the registry. So I know gantry rotation can seem a little bit abstract, a little bit challenging at first, but hopefully once you visualize it after we did in this video, it can come full circle, no pun intended, and it can help you connect this to your dosimetry and dose calculation classes. So if this helped you, let me know in the comments below. And if there are any other concepts that you want to see me do videos on, let me know below, and I hope to see you again soon.